Here reading from Canto 9, Chapter 3, The Marriage of Sukanya and Saivana Muni. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Nashtapreshu Apareshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasluke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Text 11. Thereafter, some time having passed, the Aswina Kumara brothers, the heavenly physicians, happened to come to Saivana Muni's ashram. After offering them respectful obeisances, Saivana Muni requested them to give him youthful life, for they were able to do so. Text 12. Saivana Muni said, although you are ineligible to drink Soma Rasa in sacrifices, I promise to give you a full pot of it. Kindly arrange beauty and youth for me, because they are attractive to young women. Text 13. The great physicians, the Ashwina Kumaras, very gladly accepted Saivana Muni's proposal. Thus, they told the Brahmana, just dive into this lake of successful life. One who bathes in this lake has his desires fulfilled. Text 14. After saying this, the Aswina Kumaras caught hold of Saivana Muni, who was an old, diseased invalid with loose skin, white hair, and veins visible all over his body, and all three of them entered the lake. Text 15. Thereafter, three men with very beautiful bodily features emerged from the lake. They were nicely dressed and decorated with earrings and garlands of lotuses. All of them were of the same standard beauty. Text 16. The chaste and very beautiful Sukanya could not distinguish her husband from the two Ashwini Kumaras, for they were equally beautiful. Not understanding who her real husband was, she took shelter of the Ashwini Kumaras. Text 17. The Ashwini Kumaras were very pleased to see Sukanya's chastity and faithfulness. Thus, they showed her Saivana Muni, her husband, and after taking permission from him, they returned to the heavenly planets in their plane. Text 18. Thereafter, King Saryati, desiring to perform a sacrifice, went to the residence of Saivana Muni. There he saw by the side of his daughter a very beautiful young man, as bright as the sun. Text 19. After receiving obeisances from his daughter, the king, instead of offering blessings to her, appeared very displeased and spoke as follows. Text 20. O unchaste girl, what is this that you have desired to do? You have cheated the most respectable husband, who is honored by everyone, for I see that because he was old, diseased, and therefore unattractive, you have left his company to accept as your husband this young man, who appears to be a beggar from the street. Text 21. O my daughter, who were born in a respectable family, how have you degraded your consciousness in this way? How is it that you are shamelessly maintaining a paramour? You will thus degrade the dynasties of both your father and your husband to hellish life. Text 22. Sukanya, however, being very proud of her chastity, smiled upon hearing the rebukes of her father. She smilingly told him, my dear father, this young man by my side is your actual son-in-law, the great sage Saivana, who was born in the family of Bhrigu. Text 23. Thus Sukanya explained how her husband had received the beautiful body of a young man. When the king heard this, he was very surprised, and in great pleasure he embraced his beloved daughter. Text 24. Saivana Muni, by his own prowess, enabled King Saryati to perform the Soma Yajna. The Muni offered a full pot of Soma Rasa to the Ashwini Kumaras, although they were unfit to drink it. Text 25. King Indra, being perturbed and angry, wanted to kill Saivana Muni, and therefore he impetuously took up his thunderbolt, But Saivana Muni, by his powers, paralyzed Indra's arm that held the thunderbolt. Text 26. Although the Ashwini Kumaras were only physicians and were therefore excluded from drinking Soma Rasa in sacrifices, the demigods agreed to allow them henceforward to drink it. Text 27. King Saryati begot 3 sons named Uttanabardhi, Anata, and Burisena. From Anata came a son named Rivata. King Text 28. O Maharaj Parikshit, subduer of enemies, this Rivata constructed a kingdom known as Kusastali in the depths of the ocean. There he lived and ruled such tracts of land as Anata, etc. He had 100 very nice sons, of whom the eldest was Kakudmi. Text 29. Taking his own daughter Revati, Kakudmi went to the Lord Brahma in Brahmalok, which is transcendental to the 3 modes of material nature, and inquired about a husband for her. Text 30. When Kakudmi arrived there, Lord Brahma was engaged in hearing musical performances by the Gandharvas and had not a moment to talk with him. Therefore, Kakudmi waited, and at the end of the musical performances, he offered his obeisances to Lord Brahma and thus submitted his long-standing desire. Text 31. After hearing his words, Lord Brahma, who is most powerful, laughed loudly and said to Kakudmi, O king, all those whom you may have decided within the core of your heart to accept as your son-in-law have passed away in the course of time. Text 32. 27 Chaturyagyas have already passed. Those upon whom you may have decided are now gone, and so are their sons, grandsons, and other descendants. You cannot even hear about their names. Text 33. O king, leave here and offer your daughter to Lord Baladev, who is still present. He is most powerful indeed. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose plenary portion is Lord Vishnu, whose daughter is fit to be given to him in charity. Your daughter is fit to be given to him in charity. Text 34. Lord Baladev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who hears and chants about him is purified, because he is always the well-wisher of all living entities. He has descended with all his paraphernalia to purify the entire world and lessen its burden. Text 35. Having received this order from Lord Brahma, Kukudmi offered obeisances upon him and returned to his own residence. He then saw that his residence was vacant, having been abandoned by his brothers and other relatives who were living in all directions because of fear of such higher living beings as the Yakshas. Text 36. Thereafter, the king gave his most beautiful daughter in charity to the supremely powerful Baladev, and then retired from worldly life and went to Badak ashram to please Narayana. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of Canto 9, Chapter 3, the marriage of Sukanya and Saivana Muni. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading translations today. Hare Krishna, Kiran Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisance on the Shri Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Prabhuji, please take over the call, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji, for giving this opportunity. Thank you, devotees who joined this Zoom meeting. Thank you, Sundaranand Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity to give today's overview of the Bhagavatam Sloka translations. All the glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Krishna. Let me start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunilmetam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Datati Swapatantikam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we are in the Canto 9, Chapter 3, titled The Marriage of Sukanya and Chavanam Muni. So just to give an introduction for the Canto 9, which is, um, you know, and the 10 topics of Bhagavatam generally discussed in every canto, but predominantly each one, like one topic more in each of the canto. So we have one sloka in the chapter 10, first sloka of canto 2. It starts with Sri Sukha Uvacha, Atra Sargo Visargascha, Sthanam Poshanam Utayaha, Manvantarishanukata, Nirodho Muktirashrayah. So in this one, there are 10 topics discussed in every canto, predominantly one in each of the canto. Today we are discussing in the if you start with the Sarga, the universal creation by Lord, the Supreme Lord or Krishna, and Visarga, secondary creation that is created by Lord Brahma, Sthanam, position of living entities in various planetary system, Poshanam, protection by the Lord, Uti, impetus to act, Manvantara, the reigns of Manus, the 14 Manus in the day of Brahma, one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. So those rules of those Manus. Ishanuka, the topics of God and his devotees. Nirodha, annihilation. Mukti, liberation. Ashraya, the supreme shelter, that is Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna. And in chapter 9, we are today discussing about Ishanukata, that presents the topics related to Lord and his followers with the intention to propagate bhakti, vijnana, and vairagya, devotion, knowledge, and renunciation. So this canto describes the stories of Lord incarnations and various kings in Sun and Moon dynasties. So we have from chapter 1 to 13 describing Sun dynasties, and the rest of the canto 14 to 24 chapters describe the Moon dynasties. So in the, another sloka in the first canto, third chapter, 40th sloka, idam bhagavatam nama puranam brahma samhitam uttama sloke charitam chakara bhagavan rishihi nishreyasya lokasya dhanyam swasta ayanam mahat. So in that he tells about that the Srimad Bhagavatam is nothing but the literary incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna, which is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, who is also incarnation of the God. It is meant for the ultimate good for all the people. It is successful, all blissful, and all perfect. So today, when we in Canto 9, which represents the neck of the Lord Sri Krishna, which connects to the rest of the body to the head, which is the face is the 10th canto, and starting with the lotus feet for 1 and 2 cantos, and 3 and 4 thighs, and 5th is lotus navel, and 6 is chest, and 7 and 8 is arms, and 9th is the neck, and 10th is the face. So we are connecting that one to the 10th Samambonam, the 10th canto, which is all the Krishna stories. So in the beginning of this canto, Parikshit Maharaj requested Sukadev Goswami to narrate the stories of the king who appeared in this current Manu lineage. The current Manu is nothing but Vivasvan. So if you remember the Bhagavad Gita sloka in chapter 4, first sloka, Sri Bhagavan Vacha Imam Vivasvati Yogam Proktavanaham Ahavyavam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manu Rikshvakave Bravit. So this Sri Krishna has instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god Vivasvan. Vivasvan instructed it to his son Manu. That is the current Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, the father of mankind. Manu in turn instructed it to his one of his son Ikshvaku. So Ikshvaku is the son of the current Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. So the 7th Manu in the 14 Manus of the who rule in the one day of Brahma. So I will be talking like when we start the, from Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, then Brahma came, then Marichi came, then Aditi and Kashyapa gives, has 12 glorious sons. In that, one son name is the sixth son is a sun god, who is the Vivaswan, who is the father of Vaivasvatmana. So in that lineage, we are talking about Maharaj Saryati, who is one of the son of Manu, current Manu. So Saryati is like brothers are Ikshvaku and Naga, Dishta, Drishta, Purushaka, Narisyanta, Prasiddha, Nabhaga, Kavi, So many other sons are there, but today we are talking about Saryati, the king Saryati, and he has a beautiful daughter named Sukanya. And yesterday, when Sri Krishnadas Prabhuji has told about the marriage of Sukanya and Chavanamuni, so that is the first section of this chapter is completed. And today we are trying to complete this chapter. So in this, mainly we have three sections. The first section is Chavanamuni becoming a young man, and the second one is Shariati's happiness with Sukanya's chastity, and the marriage of Revati and Lord Baladeva at the end of this chapter. So in the first section, we focus from chapter slokas 11 to 17. So in this one, the story continues. You have seen yesterday that the marriage between Chavanamuni and Sukanya has been done by the king Shariati, and he left to the palace. And then they, the chaste wife Sukanya did all the, things as an ideal wife to the Chavanamuni, even though he is old as per our Vedic culture in those times. So she was so much devoted to her husband Chavanamuni. So then one time, the Ashwini Kumaras, the twin brothers, who is also like heavenly physicians, are just like Dhanvantri, who are experts in Ayurveda. They have visited Chavanamuni in his ashrama. Then they offered obeisances to the Muni, and Muni requested them to give a youthful life. So then, and he put a proposal that since you guys are not eligible for Somaras, I will give a share in the Somaras for the which is offered in the sacrifices. So he made a deal to give the Somaras if he gives the youthful and beauty back to the Chavanamuni. So then they happily accepted. In this, Srila Prabhupada gave a detailed purport also in this sloka, where he is talking about those times where there was a Vedic Ayurvedic existence of such type of a thing where you can always revive the dead, just like earlier in the chapter we saw that Sukracharya revived so many dead soldiers. So it is like Sanjeevana Vidya. I think he used that to revive if as long as the body is intact. So there are several ways in the Ayurveda, as per the Vedic literature, that they can restore youth even to the aged. So that's why these are like there are limitations for the modern science which we don't discover, reverse aging or revive the dead. So those secrets are held in our Vedic knowledge and accessible through only the spiritual and scriptural study. So Vedic perfection in all fields, we see that every material science has perfected form in Vedic literature. For example, like Dhanvantri, the divine authority and Ayurveda. So, but the ultimate perfection is not the body rejuvenation, but becoming a devotee of the Lord. And Srimad Bhagavatam is a ripe fruit of the Vedic tree, guiding one of the supreme goals. So, as per sloka third from the chapter 1 of the Canto also, Nigama Kalpatarur Galitam Phalam Sukha Mukad Amruta Drava Samyotam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Rahuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. So in this also, it is telling that it is a mature fruit of a desired tree of Vedic literature. It is emanating from the lips of Sri Sukadev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, though it is nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including the liberated souls. So this is one we have to understand, that even the liberated souls are trying to get this nectarian Bhagavatam. So it's very important. And then continuing with our story in the next sloka. So So obviously, I told there these physicians are a little lower than the demigods. They did not grant them to drink the somaras, which is offered in the sacrifices. So, but they made a deal with Chavanamuni and to give the beauty and youth for Chavanamuni, and he will give in return get the share for from the Somyajna later he will be doing. So on the request of Chavanamuni, they accepted this proposal and and went to the heavenly accepted the heavenly, and the next they wanted to and they told the Chavanamuni that there is a mystic lake in which if you dive into that lake, the lake of successful life, your desires will be fulfilled. So you want to be back with the youth and beauty. So at present, he is an old, diseased, and invalid, loose skin, white hair, veins visible all over his body. Is an old person right now. So he was even unable to go into the lake. So these Ashwini Kumaras took him along with them and dip into the lake. So that is one thing we learned here. So one thing is, this is the the lake. When they entered, when they came out of the lake, their bodies became transformed into beautiful bodies and nicely dressed and decorated with earrings, garlands of lotuses, and they have same standard of beauty. All these three, the twin brothers of Ashwini Kumaras and Chavanamuni, and they are like radiant, youthful men, equally beautiful. So the Sukanya, the very wife of Chavanamuni, could not distinguish her husbands from two Ashwini Kumaras. So they were undifferentiated. She could not differentiate. But not understanding who is the real husband, she took the shelter of Ashwini Kumaras. As she is a chaste wife, she cannot accept anybody as her husband who looks similar or should not confuse it. She has to identify a correct husband. So she took the shelter of Ashwini Kumaras, where Ashwini Kumaras understood her chastity and gave the guidance. So she could select her husband. They showed the Chavanamuni, and Sukanya selected her husband, recognized her husband, and took him. So that is the chastity of a husband as per Vedic culture. I don't want to compare with the present existing times, but in the olden times, that is very important. The prativratya, or whatever the chastity, the so much power comes with that chastity of the woman. Generally, when they are married, they have to always they should never accept any other man other than her husband, even if they are having someone equally or handsome or qualified as just like her husband. So that is one of the uh, Vedic culture systems followed at that times. And so as Ashwini Kumar is so pleased with Sukanya's chastity and faithfulness, they showed the real husband, and she took, and they went back to the heavenly planets, the Ashwini Kumaras. So this identifies this. What we can understand from this is they are pleased with the devotion of Sukanyas because she surrendered to the Ashwini Kumaras, and it helped her to identify her husband. That is one. So chastity and devotion. Sukanya's unwavering loyalty is a model of dharmic womanhood. Power of Vedic science. The rejuvenation of Chavana Muni shows the depth of Vedic mysticism and divine reciprocity. So in this one, we can see that how Ashwini Kumaras reward Chavana's help and Sukanya's virtues. So because as a chaste wife, she the Chavana Muni also changed with the behavior of Sukanya. He wanted to become youthful and beautiful, so that he can have a good family growth life with the Sukanya. So that is being bestowed with the God's mercy. Ultimately, it's Krishna's plan. Without super soul's permission, this cannot happen. So this is the one thing we have to understand, that if you follow the dharma, or if you follow this Vedic culture of the olden times, the chastity, especially Sukanya, she got the required, the God blessed with the again beautiful and youthful husband. So now the next section we are trying to go with Shariati's happiness with Sukanya's chastity. So in this section, it tells that when one time the King Shariati has come to perform a sacrifice and visited Chavanamuni in his ashram, and there he saw his daughter Sukanya along with a beautiful young man as bright as sun. So the king was surprised to see a young man beside her daughter. He suspected Sukanya of abandoning her aged husband, and he was almost rebukes her harshly. So in the Prabhupada's purport also, it highlights that how the Vedic culture upholds the chastity, even if the husband is aged or unfit, or whatever may be the case. Women must always remain faithful regardless of external circumstances. So, in after receiving the obeisances from the daughter Sukanya, the king, instead of offering the blessings, he was very much displeased and chastised her. So, in that, he was saying that how can you cheat, or your old and deceased husband who is unattractive, and accept another young man as as your husband or a lover. So that is totally unacceptable, and it brings both the disgrace to your husband's family and parents' family. So this is what also it is described in Srila Prabhupada's purport, that one should not do against this Vedic culture. So according to the Vedic culture, woman must accept the husband given to her by her parents and remain chaste and faithful to him. So then obviously the daughter who was from a respectable family of your Manus, and daughter of Shariati, you know, like did not tell anything, but she was internally, pride. She was proud of her chastity, and she has smiled and spoke to her father and told about this story, how this young man is nothing but his actual son-in-law, the great sage Chavana, who is born in the family of Ruku, and she tried to get rid of his misunderstanding, and told whole the story, what happened, how Ashwini Kumar has returned beauty and youth to her husband. So then, obviously, with this revelation, Sukanya smiles, and even King Shariati was overjoyed, astonished, embraced her daughter, and so the Sukanya chastity and service pleased Chavana, leading to divine intervention. Our behavior exemplifies ideal Grihastha dharma and feminine virtue. So these all are glorified here, and and finally, the next last section, that of this section only, recognition of Ashwini Kumaras, how now that king has come, the Chavana has arranged Somayagna and performed it, and he was granted the Somaras, and obviously with this developments, King Indra was not happy, and he tried to use his strength by using the Vajrayuda, thunderbolt, and he was trying to kill Chavana Muni, and with this, with the devotion and whatever tapas the Chavana Muni had, he could stop or paralyze the hand in which he was holding the thunderbolt. And obviously King Indra became helpless. He has to agree to the demand of Chavana Muni to give the share in drinking the somaras in the sacrifice to Ashwini Kumaras. So finally, the story ended happily. The Ashwini Kumaras got the somaras in sacrifices, and they could happily went back to the heavenly planets. So this is another section, and the last section today we are dealing with the marriage of Revati and Lord Baladeva. So King Saryati begot another three sons named Uttana Bharihi, Anartha, and Buri Sena. And from Anartha, a son named Revata has come. So Revata is constructed a new kingdom, Kusastali, in the depths of ocean. He lived and ruled such tracts of land as Anartha, and he has 100 sons, and the eldest was Kukudmi. So Kukudmi had a beautiful daughter called Revati. So that is the story of the Revati, who is born to the Kukudmi, and he wanted to select a beautiful, husband, suitable husband for Revati. And since Brahma is the creator, all the secondary creation comes from him. He wanted to go to Brahmaloka and inquire who is the suitable husband for Revati. And in purport, he mentions that it appears that Brahmaloka, the abode of Lord Brahma, is also transcendental, above the three modes of material nature, apavritam. So, but it is, since it is very close to the spiritual loka, and he goes to spiritual lokas once in a while when there are problems, when demigods come to save from the demons. Then so it's like at the end of 100 years of Brahma, he takes back to the transcendental or spiritual world. So it's close to that. So maybe in that way it appears that there is a Brahmaloka close in that vicinity. But I feel that all the material 14 worlds starting from Brahmaloka are destructible, but the people, some people who are qualified in the devotion, when Brahma, if he is qualified, he will go back to the spiritual world from the Brahmaloka. So as he visits the Brahmaloka, Kukudmi, he has to wait because the Brahma was busy in hearing a musical performance by Gandharvas, and he could not, talk right away. So Kukudmi waited until the end of the musical performance. It lasted around 19 minutes or so. By the time when he came, already 27 Mahayugas have passed in the Bhuloka. So Brahma said that you waited time, but the time scale is different here and on the earth. So what all you thought that you in your heart to accept somebody as son-in-law, they all passed in due course of time. So there are 27 Chaturyugas. I was just calculating, if one day of Brahma is like 1,000 Chaturyugas, it is coming around 19.44 minutes for 24 Chaturyugas. So he just under 20 minutes only he stayed there, but it has, since the time scale is different, so 27 Chaturyugas have passed. So now Brahma explains that and now Krishna has come, who want to lessen the burden, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam. So from Bhagavad Gita. So he came to the world to annihilate the bad people along with his paraphernalia, and lessen the burden of Mother Earth. So Brahma advises Kukudmi to marry Revati to Baladeva, who is the divine brother of Lord Sri Krishna. So he explained Bhagavan has descended to relieve earth's burden and glorify Dharma. So after receiving this order from Brahma, Kukudmi offered obeisances unto him and returned to his own residence. Then he saw that his residence was vacant and has been abandoned by his brothers and other relatives who were living in all directions because of fear of such higher living beings as Yakshas. So their heights are so different. So in that yuga, even the height of Revati was so high that the powerful Baladeva with his plow, he has to shorten her height so that it can match the height of Balaram or Baladeva. And so when he came, the king. Kukudmi, he offered obviously, he gave Revati in the marriage to Baldeva, who adjusted the body structure to match to the current age. It is Dwapara Yuga. And Kukudmi obviously retires and for his spiritual purification after this marriage and returns to Badrikashramam to worship Narayana. So this is the end of this section of the chapter, completes the chapter in this Canto 9, where we can see that how this is all orchestrated by Brahma, because Brahma Dev wanted Revati to be a suitable wife for Balram or Baldev. So this all happened with as per the plan of Brahma only we can understand. And Kukudmi fulfilling his responsibilities means the important was a marriage of his daughter. He retires to Vanaprastha. That is also another thing we can learn from this. So when we relate this today's section of the story of Bhagavatam to the Bhagavad Gita, like we always say that when we have like Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushtistat Swadharmo Nidhanam Shreyas Paradharmo Bhayanava. So it is better to discharge one's duty, prescribed duties, even though faulty. So the Sukanya performed her duties as a chaste wife, and she did not get distracted and want to go with another husband, or did not leave her husband. So if you follow his own, that is following the path of others is dangerous. That is one we can remember. And another one is all the Bhoktaram Vignatapasam Sarvalokameshwaram Suhrudam Sarvabhutanam Jnatva Mam Shanti Mruchate. In this also we can see that Supreme Lord is the enjoyer of all sacrifice. So Chavana's decision to include Ashwini Kumaras in Shoma Yajna reflects that deeper truth that Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer, not bound by ritualistic exclusions. So Chavana grants so much share to the Ashwini Kumaras. That also we can understand. And obviously we know that final chapter, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshaishyami Masucha, in 18th chapter 66 sloka of Bhagavad Gita. So once he performed his duties, he tried to, after fulfilling his worldly duties, Kukudmi wanted to go to Vanaprastha and continue his Varnashrama Dharma and, completely surrenders, exemplifies his surrender by retiring to perform austerities. So that also we can see that one. And there is a difference of time scales that also we can see from 8th chapter 17th sloka, Sahasra Yuga Pariyantam Ahar Yad Brahmano Vidhu Ratrim Yuga Sahasrana Teho Ratra Vidho Janaha. So even the night of Brahma's day is also same 1000 Divya Yugas. So you know how much Divya Yugas are there. So like 1000 Divya Yugas in for 12 hours of Brahma's day. So, and in the 11th sloka of 4th chapter also we know that ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyam mama vartman vartante manushya partha sarvasya. So as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Chavana's sincere service and Chukanya's chastity invoke divine reciprocation, just as Krishna promises. So he has given Chavana the beauty and youth. So that is a reciprocation. And at the end, we can conclude today's section by always thinking that Ananya Chintayanto Mam Yejana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyam. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Here, he gave the understanding by which they can come to me. The Sukanya's pure devotion to identify our husband mirrors the exclusive surrender and praised in this verse. So, if I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me. This is my first class. I try to, share my thoughts on this section of the Bhagavatam. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity and listening to my lecture. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Prabhuji. Very beautiful class. Thank you for giving your association.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna,
Mataji.
all devotees. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, all devotees, for joining today. I'll end the class today. Vancha kalpatarupyasya kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam evanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Grantat Sri Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada
ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai.
ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, all devotees. Hare Krishna.